I'm in the ghetto. I'm in the ghetto. I'm in the ghetto.
Thanks everyone for coming. Tonight is the third of our Digi debate series. Woo. There we go. This is like one of those audience participation nights. We want people to get rowdy. It's a Tuesday. This usually happens on a Monday, so it's a Tuesday, so I'm expecting like even more participation, interaction than usual. Heckling is encouraged. So Digi Debates is essentially a series that we're running called that are evenings of kind of entertainment and debate about internet culture, trends and technology. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Shoreditch House, for their investment in this evening. Just firstly, kind of introduce us and why we're here. So if you guys don't already know, the Digital Fairy, the Digi Fairy, is a creative lab and platform for change, which basically in layman's terms means we're a social-first creative agency. We help brands in the fashion, beauty, and lifestyle sectors connect better with audiences on Instagram, as well as more recently helping brands figure out what the fuck they're supposed to do on TikTok, which I'm sure is kind of why many of you are here tonight. I'm Livy, I'm creative director at Digi, and I'm going to be chairing the discussion tonight along with our amazing speakers. We're here to debate the motion this house believes TikTok is the new Instagram. So is TikTok going to replace Instagram? Is any one platform fundamentally better than the other? Should we be swapping face-tuned selfies and smug brunch Insta stories, I don't know if this is just me, for hashtag challenges, e-boys or e-girls, and the renegade? This motion is like a little bit cheeky, it's deliberately provocative, and it's designed to kind of encourage some devil's advocacy, so I'm looking forward to this. The reason that we do these events as a debate series and not a panel discussion is because we, as an agency, had grown tired with the kind of echo chamber of panel discussions. I'm sure all you guys go to loads of panel discussions. It sometimes feels like everyone kind of ends up agreeing with each other, and you don't really get to dig deep into an issue because people don't want to disagree. They don't want to be contentious. So this event is designed to be the kind of opposite of that. We wanted to host something that would really like let people get their hands dirty, kind of let us like dissect issues in a really like structured rhetorical way. So that's why we're doing a debate, as well as it being super important in the kind of current political and cultural climate to engage with both sides of an opinion rather than just shutting them down, blocking them, or moving on. So that's kind of where the Digi Debates concept was born. So a bit of a disclaimer, the idea is obviously to put aside real life allegiances or opinions. So our speakers tonight have been assigned a side by us, and they'll be speaking for or against the motion. So how it's going to work is basically this. Each side has prepared a speech, that's like 1 to 2 minutes long. They're going to stand up and they're going to, or they can sit. It's okay, you can sit. The look of panic when I was like, they're going to stand up is unbelievable. So they're going to read their speeches. They're going to put out their case. They're going to set out why they believe the motion should hold or fail. And then after that, we'll let each side kind of pick apart each other's arguments, get a little bit heated, and then we'll open it up to the floor for you guys so that you can stand up. You can either if you're like one of those people like I am, a panel, and you're like tapping away in your notes section, maybe you want to stand up and give an opinion, or you want to challenge anything that's been said here, or you just throw something else into the mix. It's all encouraged. And then we will vote again at the end. So we'll vote in a second, and we'll vote again at the end. Please do share on social media. I would be fired if I didn't say this. Please share on social media using the hashtag DigiDebates. We're at the Digi Fairy on Instagram, and at the Digi Fairies with a Z on Twitter, because some 14-year-old girl has at the Digi Fairy and we can't get it off her. So if anyone in this audience has at the Digi Fairy, speak to me afterwards. Also, if anyone decides to cover this tonight on TikTok, we'd love to screen it at the end, so don't be shy. Okay, so before we get into the motion, what we're going to do is, and before I introduce the speakers, we're going to cast a vote, so to kind of find out what you guys are feeling before we've done the debate. So some of you, not all, just because of the numbers, I think will have these like pixel foam fingers, like a really bad baseball game. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, so don't hold them up, hold them down. You're very keen, this is good, you're keen. Okay, so can you please raise your hand if you think TikTok is the new Instagram? Raise it up, hold it up, or you can hold up an actual hand if you have an actual hand, rather than a Not both. You can't do both. Wow, this is wild. Okay, so our Digi Fairy helpers, the little elves, are going to count and take a... Okay, no, you go. No, yeah, no. Oh my God, so not counted, so not counted. Okay, right, so now raise your hand if you think TikTok is not the new Instagram. Okay, you guys are really gonna have to hold these out for a second because... While this is going, you guys can just give me some verbal feedback. Who here is on TikTok already? Just go, yeah. Yeah. Okay, wow, that's loads. Okay. And who here is actually a TikTok influencer or creator? Anyone? Anyone? Shout out. Tyne, we know you had one viral hit. Stop trying to get in on... You cannot call yourself a TikTok creator with one viral hit, I'm sorry. It's the start. Okay, good. Is that all counted? Is that all good? Okay, amazing. Okay, so thank you. You voted for or against on the way in. So now at the end of the night, we're going to recount and see whose opinions have been shifted by how much, etc. We love data. This is great. Okay, so I'm now going to introduce the panel here tonight. So speaking for the motion on my right-hand side, arguing that yes, TikTok is the new Instagram, we have first the platform expert, Luke Vernon. So Luke is a Birmingham-based professional actor with credits from the BBC and Netflix on his CV. But more importantly, he is also a TikTok influencer. Whee! Here we go. He's got over 500,000 followers and 7.5 million likes. And get this, he joined TikTok at the end of 2019. Yeah, okay. So he has had several viral hits, such as his comedy series, When Dads Babysit. Or his latest upload, which I'm completely obsessed with, where he basically solves a Rubik's Cube in under 15 seconds. It's amazing. Then we have the music expert, Georgia Devon-Spink. So Georgia is a national radio plugger at Warner Records, working with a range of artists, including El Davine, Magic Gang, and DVSN. Georgia started her career in music managing, and she's written for publications, including Complex, MTV, and GRM Daily. So it's really important to note at this stage that Warner have had huge success with TikTok. Signing Suburban after their single Cradles was used over 1 billion times on TikTok, more since that stat was created. And it had its own like Fortnite-inspired dance. I think at some point it was like the second most listened to song on the app. Like that is incredible. That's insane. So they've done some really amazing work with TikTok, and she'll be giving a kind of music expertise angle. And then... on my left, my devil's advocates, speaking against the motion, arguing that TikTok is not the new Instagram. We have the talent expert, Sasha Morgan-Evans. So Sasha heads up talent management at Bite Size Talent, which is the management arm of social media marketing company Fanbytes. So Bite Size Talent is one of only a few TikTok-specific talent agencies in the UK. It's a kind of really rare, really new, and really exciting. So Bite Size Talent has an extensive roster of 32 of the UK's biggest TikTok creators, from dancers and pranksters to comedians and positivity ambassadors. And then last but not least, we have the culture expert, Sarah Manavis. So Sarah is the New Statesman's tech and digital culture writer, and she's basically my personal go-to for hot takes about basically anything on the internet. She's written extensively on everything from influences on Love Island to digital conspiracy theories, and the political implications of shit posting, which is an amazing article which you should all Google. Recently, she covered the viral story of TikTok star Paul Zimmer, who basically tried to rebrand as a completely different person under a completely new identity, which is wild from the wild west of TikTok influencing. Alongside her work at The New Statesman, she's also been a columnist for GQ and a writer at places like The Guardian, Grazia, and The Sunday Times. So can I get a big round of applause for our speakers tonight? Okay, so, guys, who's going to go first? Over to... Yeah, Fab, take it away.
Mic check. Hello, everybody. Everyone okay? Yeah. Cool. My name is Luke Vernon, and tonight I will be arguing for the motion that TikTok is the new Instagram. For 5 points, the traction. Now, TikTok creators, such as myself, can build profiles much more quickly than on IG. The algorithm is more open and allows you to get more traction. The organic reach is amazing. Someone without a following can get more views than somebody with a massive following, and I find that you cannot do that on Instagram. Creativity. Now, the community is more creative on TikTok than it is on IG. People aren't scared to upload something simple, something that just becomes effective. And a video that's unpolished and not edited can blow up more than anything with minimal effort and get millions and millions and millions of views. The safety. Now, the safety section is a big thing. It's a lot more child-friendly than Instagram. You're not getting the videos that are explicit, for instance. They're more child-friendly, and videos that are monitored on TikTok will get taken down if they infringe the copyright laws, and if it doesn't follow the rules and regulations. Growth. Now, personally, my growth on TikTok, I believe, has just been phenomenal. It's in under 3 months, I hit 500,000. It just went crazy from the get-go. I'm closer to 1 million than I am to nothing, so that's just a massive bonus. This has allowed me to network in more ways than I ever have before. So I have previously been doing stuff on different platforms, and as soon as I jumped on TikTok, if I didn't jump on TikTok, I wouldn't be in this room right now. More revenue is coming in now than it ever was before. If I'm to give any advice to anybody that wants to grow on TikTok, I'm just being myself and having fun. You can look at my videos at @LukeVernon_. Where was I? I don't feel pressured. I just release what I want and when I want. And I look at videos that go viral and then make them my own way. So I do it the Luke Vernon way. And last but not least, the content. Now, I believe the content on TikTok has such a wide range, but what's almost common about its work is a massive percentage of positivity. People will scroll on TikTok for ages, laugh and smile so many times. They will literally click a sound that they like and then watch everybody else's videos that are on that sound and just sit there laughing and smiling. They'll make up their own version of that sound, and it just helps the mind stay creative. I really, truly believe that TikTok is helping people to stay creative. And for these reasons, I firmly believe that TikTok is the new Instagram. Thank you.
Woo! Round of applause. Thank you so much. I also like that in true influencer style, you got a handle plug in there as well. That was good.
Luke Vernon _. Yeah. Sorry, it's Luke Vernon _.
Underscore is crucial. There is someone who vlogs about his experiences of being a gay long distance truck driver, who's also called Luke Vernon. Who?
Yeah, I know this guy. We don't look alike at all.
You look nothing alike. It's just quite funny. Yeah. Okay, cool. Who is gonna take it away in response? Yeah? Okay, go.
Sure. Okay. Hi, I'm Sasha, and I'll be arguing against the motion TikTok is not the new Instagram. So my first point is that people don't use TikTok for the same reason as they do Instagram. As I'm sure we all know, Instagram is an extremely superficial platform. People go on there to see attractive people wearing cool outfits, going to cool parties, their matcha lattes and their little dogs. I don't think they actually exist. But basically, Instagram is a place of ideals, whereas TikTok, it's chaotic, it's random, and it's relatable, which is my main point here. In my experience of working on the platform with its creators, the importance of relatability on TikTok has been proven to me in a multitude of ways. When running campaigns on the platform, we've always seen that the more relatable the concept is, the better it does. For example, we did a campaign for Benny Blanco. It's probably one of our most successful campaigns. It got over 6 million views, 205k pieces of user-generated content, really outstanding stuff. But basically, it played on the idea of how people change throughout their school years, from being a little kid in year 7 with your massive backpack to being a year 11 trying to be really cool, smoking and that. But this is almost something that everyone can relate to, which is why I think it did really well. And we've seen that again and again with some other campaigns too. But I've also seen it in the talent that I manage. So, for example, I manage someone called 𝚃𝚒𝚔𝚃𝚘. So he encourages his followers to love themselves no matter what they look like and do what they want. his content is him sort of like acting out scenes from TV shows and films and dancing and doing little comedy skits. But basically, he's very real. He kind of just uploads what he wants to do rather than sort of trying to fill something that I feel like Instagram makes its creators do. But basically, as well, yeah, his content isn't polished or overproduced. He doesn't fit into social norms. Like, he's plus size, he's asexual, which I think this is what makes him appealing to his 1.7 million fans on the platform, because they see themselves in him. It's also become a place where people create content because they can feel appreciated for it, like the content that they want to make rather than what they think they should make. Whereas I think Instagram is quite the opposite of that. My second point is more of a marketing one, in that I know TikTok doesn't have the marketing tools that Instagram has. So I'm not saying that brands can't run massive branded campaigns on TikTok. At Fanbytes, we've run loads of massive branded campaigns on TikTok, but it's more brand awareness and organic posts than one can do on Instagram. For marketers who are keen to see hard data on streaming, traffic or conversions, or want to see in-depth analytics on an individual creator, things get a bit tricky. So for a start, TikTok UK doesn't currently have post swipe-ups on in-feed posts, only unpaid ads. In terms of analytics, brands can't see age breakdowns of creators or geographic breakdowns either, so that means that posts can't be as targeted as they are on Instagram. TikTok has just launched clickable links in bios, which is definitely going to up its game, but I don't think the results are there yet. It's been out for a week. We don't know. But there's a lot more that TikTok can do to make the platform more inviting to brands that want data to prove the ROI of spending on the platform, whereas Instagram's probably already proven that. My final argument is that TikTok doesn't have the same deeply ingrained cultural importance as Instagram just yet. TikTok's been around since 2016 or 2014, if you're counting Musical.ly, whilst Instagram's been around since 2010. TikTok has grown at a massive rate. It's got 600 million monthly active users in 2020, but Instagram still trumps it with over 1 billion. So basically, TikTok has had an important cultural impact for many people, but it's not quite the norm for as wide a demographic as Instagram just yet. And for these reasons, I firmly believe TikTok is not the new Instagram. Thank you.
A riposte.
Hi, I'm Georgia, and I'm going to be speaking for the motion that I believe TikTok is the new Instagram. I firstly just wanted to sort of unpick and define exactly what we mean by the new Instagram. Instagram, as we all know, is about 10 years old this year. We all grew up on it, and we inherited it from Bebo, Facebook, MySpace, and it's a big part of our lives, just like to Uber and to Hoover, to Instagram is a thing, and whether we like it or not, it is integral to our life. And with 1 billion users worldwide, culturally and statistically, it's our generation's most popular platform. So TikTok, being the new Instagram, does have massive shoes to fill in this way, but it does seem to be definitely measuring up. When we look at the stats and figures alone, it's growing faster than any social media platform ever has. In December, it gained 75 million users alone, which is just a madness, I think. Obviously, I'm here to speak from a music perspective, and I think that TikTok definitely has a greater impact for music than Instagram ever has and will. For an example, at the end of January, Dua Lipa joined TikTok and with a few hours gained 500,000 followers on that platform. And I was thinking of a way to tangibly compare this to Instagram. And I sort of thought of when Frank Ocean put his private Instagram public. He gained 200,000 followers in the same time, which is half of what she did. So in terms of cultivating a new following, TikTok seems to do this in a far greater way. Also, that for singles and for tracks that we release, the impact of TikTok is far higher than Instagram. Not just because that music essentially is the crux of what TikTok mainly is about, with dance routines and whatnot. For Dua Lipa's single Physical, when it was launched on TikTok, there was a push notification announcing the single to 187 million people worldwide. And this sort of thing doesn't happen on Instagram. You don't really get a notification unless your aunt Pat from Facebook is on Instagram, or Bill's going live with Bob. It's just not, you just don't get that sort of detail and breakdown. So for fans and with information, TikTok gives you far more in that way. And sort of at the crux of all social media and all social media platform, its currency is based on communication and information. And in that way, TikTok's delivering in a far greater respect. And just on the topic of Dua Lipa, she shared her first TikTok on Friday, and that received, let me get this right, that went on to be her most viewed video on Instagram of all time. So it's just interesting to really think about that the video from TikTok's sort of platform on Instagram is the most popular thing on that platform. And also that she's firstly posting that on Instagram, meaning that, TikTok can't be the new Instagram without acquiring all of the Instagrammers. So now, real fans are only going to go into TikTok because they know where that's where they can get this exclusive content. And then also with Don't Stop Now, there was this, which was her other single. There was a 180 challenge where people were making their own dances, and that had over 400,000 challengers or people who did that challenge. And if you think about that, 400,000 likes or 400,000 views is one thing, but 400,000 people sort of taking time out of their day to actively go and make a dance or make some sort of routine to a track is far more active than a passive like or view. So in that respect, it is the new Instagram. And then just very quickly, in terms of investment, we did mention, the opposition mentioned that there's lots of money going into ads and the fact that you can track, ages and whatnot. On Instagram, you have that breakdown, but on TikTok, we all know that the main age group is 16 to 25, which was 40% of consumerism in 2019. And, they're trying to be at the forefront of all cultural moments, and they're putting a lot of money into that. So from a business perspective, you could say TikTok is the new Instagram because people are putting way more money into it. For instance, at the Brits last week, they had billboards all outside Shepherd's Bush and Piccadilly Circus. And Lewis Capaldi, who you could say is the cultural zeitgeist of the internet, sort of did a live stream of his red carpet entrance on TikTok. So for all those reasons, and I rushed a bit at the end because I'm running out of time, I believe TikTok is the new Instagram.
My name is Sarah Manavis. I'm the New Statesman's digital culture writer, and I'll be arguing against the motion that TikTok is not, in fact, the new Instagram. Also, I'm going to speed through this because I'm a fast talker naturally, but if I fast talk during the rest of it, someone please scream at me. So my first argument is one that TikTok creators tend to still use TikTok as a place to drive people to their Instagram. So in the coverage that I've done of TikTok, I've talked to magicians, actors, memers, even people that are posting thought pics. Every single one of them is saying to me, we are doing this because, yeah, TikTok is a fun place to gain followers, gain clout, but where we make our money is still on Instagram, and Instagram is where we want all of those people to go. So if, TikTok is still being used as a place to reroute people to Instagram, then I'm not sure it is, in fact, the new Instagram. The other thing is that the things we associate with Instagram culturally, so glossiness, SpawnCon, celebrity, whether that's, celebrities using it that are traditional celebrities or influencers, are not what necessarily thrive on TikTok. Now, on TikTok, of course, you can have influencers. Look at Charli D'Amelio. Look at the people that, get 500,000 followers in just a couple of months. These are sort of new verified celebrities. But if you ever try, for example, I would recommend trying to see John Turode, the guy from MasterChef, for all a fan. If you ever try to look at his TikTok, this is a guy that on Instagram can post pretty much whatever he wants and he'll get tens of thousands of likes. Nobody's engaging. He's essentially had to quit the platform. It does not work just to already be a traditional celebrity to just move on to TikTok in the way that you can on Instagram. Again, when we talk about authenticity, which is so overdone, we can, though, talk about production quality. On Instagram, typically speaking, we all know this, you do need to have a little bit of production value to do well most of the time. Whereas if you're on the For You page on TikTok, pretty much every single video is in someone's dark bedroom, in someone's bathroom, is being shot on the selfie camera of an iPhone. So yeah, it's just that, the average Love Island star might be able to just go onto Instagram and gain hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers. But if you on TikTok, you do kind of have to work for it in a way that on Instagram you can't just post a glossy pic and have it have the cultural impact it does on TikTok. Finally, so nobody here is going to say that Instagram does not have sinister elements to it. It's sort of become synonymous with like bad mental health, body image problems, social anxiety, all of those kinds of things. But even if in very, 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 very bad faith, Instagram is doing things to try to address that, at least on the surface. When you scroll through Instagram now, if you've scrolled through every single one of your posts, it'll say you're up to date, you've seen everything, stop scrolling. You have the option to plug in time limits. You have the option, they're talking about removing like counts. Blah, 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 we can talk more about that. But yeah, it's things that are actually being addressed to try to make the platform, at least on the surface, again with the million caveats to it, a better place for your mental health. TikTok is a whole other game. TikTok is fundamentally built to warp your sense of time. I think for anybody who's been on TikTok before, you open the app and you think like, okay, I'll probably just spend like 10 fucking minutes on this thing, right? And you're scrolling through, you can't see the time, you can't see your battery, and maybe you open the app at like 9:30 p.m., like, and then I'll go get ready for bed. And then suddenly it's 11 o'clock and you've been scrolling through TikTok for an hour and a half and you had no idea your battery's on 2%. The app is built to make you keep using it, and it's built to warp your sense of time. As well on TikTok, we say it's this fun, wholesome, wonderful place, but TikTok has admitted that it's censored apps from disabled kids, LGBTQ defining kids, and fat kids because they're like, oh, they might get bullied on the platform, so they literally censor their videos so that they don't get traction. This is an actual thing in The Guardian in December. And then on top of all of that, we can always talk about the fact that they may be censoring stuff for the Chinese government. So on top of all of that, and all of those things put together, I would say that no, TikTok is not the new Instagram.
A lot of facts there, most predominantly the fact that I spend 3 hours. I feel so dragged right now. I'm like, oh, yes, the 3-hour scroll. Does anyone have any immediate challenges for things people said? Yes! Go. Okay, off you go.
Just on the point of production value and how, Instagram has a higher production value and is glossy and everything. But I think that's the beauty of why TikTok is the new Instagram, because on Instagram you mainly blow up if you have this hashtag goals, living your best life, mainly sort of rich and thin and you can have that lifestyle that looks amazing that people have followed, whereas the main thing on TikTok is the humor and the comedy and how it's relatable. So I think, the production value of it not being as beautiful is actually what will make TikTok the new Instagram, because people are sort of overdone with subscribing to that sort of unattainable life that makes you feel quite shit.
I do think, though, if you do tend to look at, I think when you look at the For You page, it is very low production. And even when you look at the, biggest name influencers, I'll keep talking about Charli D'Amelio and the wider Hype House, if those of you in here are aware. If you aren't aware, it's essentially a literal mansion in LA that a bunch of teenagers live in together and are millionaires off the back of that. But yeah, they essentially live in this millionaire, huge, marbled house and make TikToks all day. The thing is I do think, though, their videos are low production, and like you said, that does make it, if you want to say different from Instagram, but the new Instagram, because you're getting over that high production value thing. You do still see that people are kind of coming from that same era of wealth. I don't know if I'm kind of fucking up my own argument here. But yeah, they're still from that, even if it's in a bedroom, they are still incredibly wealthy. The Hype House kids are the ones that have 28 million followers. They're the most popular people on TikTok. And yeah, it's low production value, but I still think people crave that kind of rich lifestyle, which the Hype House kind of pushes, because again, it's like a mega mansion in LA.
Yeah, I agree. I think they do crave that and they like that, but I think there's something for me with TikTok where the comedy value, I think people who weren't represented on Instagram are now represented. There's this girl who, I don't know if anyone follows her, please do, she's iconic. She worked at Tesco and she was complaining about people, yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, her.
Do we know what her name is?
I don't know her name, but just... Yes, and I feel
Jade Pinner for everyone. Jade Pinner.
And I feel although people like looking at beautiful things, she was iconic, and I'd rather look at her any day.
Yeah, I think there's something interesting in the like authenticity argument, right? Because authenticity is this like really boring, like almost at this point like slur that we've all been saying as an industry, like it's this like wank fest where we're all like, oh, authenticity, like yes, love it, give me more of it. But like, what is it? Like every app is a mediated experience. I think every app like performs authenticity. So I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like, you would probably argue that TikTok is more authentic, is like a more authentic experience.
Yeah, very much so. I just really wanted to pick up on the point that both of you kind of pointed out, that you can be at home being yourself, and that was a problem. Like, huh? How? Like, no, for real. Like,
That's
no,
not
for
a
real.
problem. It's just
No.
different.
You brought up 𝚃𝚒𝚔𝚘𝚔. You said that he's being himself. He's able to express who he is because he wasn't comfortable how he was, and that's basically become a problem. And working from home, a lot of people don't want to. Who wants to go to a job that they hate? These people that you're talking about are actually like making money and making people happy by literally being themselves. Now, even if they're putting on a front. Now, I have an alter ego on my TikTok. I play a little kid, a mom and a dad. I'm not even a dad. I don't have a kid. Like, and this is what I'm doing. It's like it's alter ego things that people are allowing them to be whatever they choose to be.
Is that not then really inauthentic?
No,
But is that not different from Instagram?
Yeah,
I think that would be the
that's
point.
my
The point.
point,
Is not,
yeah.
the point
It's
is
not
not
it's a
that it's
problem.
bad. It's that it's
I
great.
love
and
that I
that's
can just
because
stir the
That would
shit.
be a bit of a catfish, wouldn't it? If
the
you
thing is, the way that you come across on the argument was the fact that it was a problem.
No.
They know it's different from Instagram.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Instagram's
what's-
The whole damn thing.
But it's a
inauthentic,
different app.
TikTok is.
It's a different app, so like it's allowed to be different.
Yeah, I know, but that's the.
But the argument
is that it's the new Instagram.
I think
We're all friends here, man.
I think the great points have been made that how they're different and why that's valuable for
Diplomatic.
each to their own and that. But ultimately, both apps exist on your phone, and we're all time precious. And ultimately, whatever you find funnier and more, appealing to you, you're going to go on more. And yeah, they're different, but one's funnier, so you're going to go on that more. So ultimately, that's going to be the new Instagram, isn't it?
She just likes the memes. She just likes the memes.
It's just, I think, like, my perception of, like, being the new Instagram is that it would replace it. And I don't feel like TikTok fills the same boots as Instagram. Like, I agree with you. Like, it's funny and people want to go on it because it's funny, but people will still go on Instagram because they want to see the ideal. You get what I mean? Like, I don't think, as I said, like, obviously, I mean, my job's in TikTok, managing TikTok influencers, that by any means it's not going to last or that it's not huge, but I just don't think it's the new Instagram. I just don't think it's there.
I feel like if we think about Tumblr and Pinterest and all those things, and then if we think about how the Gen Z, the younger ones, how their brain works and my brain works or whatever, and it's very like, very low attention span, and actually looking at pretty sunsets, like, just doesn't cut the mustard anymore. Like, you want to be looking at TikTok, or they do anyway, and they're just so...
You want to be looking at him pretending to be a woman and a
wanna
man
look
and
at
a
you,
baby simultaneously.
Maybe I am that Luke Vernon. That's
Yeah.
I do also think, and I didn't actually say this in my opening argument, but I do think also Instagram does have this kind of reputation amongst non-Gen Z, people, that it is this like super glossy, which I know I literally just advocated for. But if you are like a 16-year-old using the app, a lot of what your feed is not glossy images, but like meme accounts. And so I do think that Instagram does serve this like very multifaceted thing that TikTok, while good, and I increasingly prefer as an app, just does not. Like, you can go on Instagram and you can see like an incredibly beautiful picture from like a travel magazine, and you can then see like a fuck Jerry post, which, like, whatever you want to think of that, like, they can exist in the same home feed. And of course on TikTok, you can have like somebody who's posting like a sexy moving selfie effectively to the Renegade, for example, and then like a meme post. But I do think that like people tend to go on TikTok thinking this is a place for memes, whereas most people can go on Instagram that are of a certain age a lot of the time that will go, this is a place for nice pictures and memes and also like YouTube tea and like a million other things like that. And so I do think that Instagram still has this like cultural impact that is like very multifaceted. And even if TikTok becomes like surpasses it in terms of like monthly active users and where the clout is, I do still think it's like so different in what at least it is right now that it can't ever be the new Instagram, even if it might be better.
Oh, yes, this is good.
First clap of the evening.
Shout out. If you don't like what they're saying, you can throw something. If you do, you can clap.
Please cut the cameras now.
Okay, I want to challenge something. I want to challenge this like cultural myth that TikTok is this amazing creative space where everyone's being super original. I know you are, but on the whole, I actually don't think TikTok is about creativity and originality. I think it's about copying. Like, unlike Instagram, TikTok is all about taking things and remixing and like memeing and like replicating again and again and again and again. So it's actually, it ends up being like taking like people doing the same dance or people recreating the same scenario or doing something to the same song. It's actually not as like unbounded a creative space as maybe we're all discussing it to be. Like there are rules. You don't understand them until you're in the world of the app, but there are rules. There are certain actions you don't do to certain songs. There are certain memes that have to go with certain like captions or whatever. And so actually like it's not this creative space that it maybe is being like.
Can I answer this?
Yeah.
I feel
This
like
is a challenge for you.
that's only if you allow it to be like that. So we as people, we can choose how we develop on things. Like if we go back to Shakespeare, the Lion King is basically Hamlet. If people know what Hamlet is, the Lion King is the exact same thing. So, and that's probably the biggest Disney movie out there. So dad dies from uncle marries mom or gets with mom, and then Simba, Hamlet, my dad. You know what I mean? Like this is what we've been doing for ages. We've been recreating stuff and making our own stuff new for centuries. So like if somebody's to say this glass of water is here and you have to drink it, why? What if I want to throw it over my face and upload it to TikTok and get a few million views? You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like there's rules. Like the way that with that debate that you basically just said that we have to do X, Y, and Z. Now, I don't believe that. I don't live by that way. The way that I live is I kind of do what makes me happy. And if people don't like that, then that's fine by you because that's you. And I'm going to do me, basically. So
that's me told.
Yeah.
Have you never posted something on TikTok that you thought was super creative, super original, it's just flopped?
Have you seen my views? No, I'm joking. No, so, yeah, actually, I did. And no, it's not. I wouldn't say that it's flopped, but I thought it would have got more than it did. And a video that I thought that took less effort and less writing, because I write my scripts, for instance, it got way more views. It's got the most views. It's got I think it's like 12.9 million on my page. And that was the quickest video I think I've filmed out of that series.
So
that's
TikTok.
basically saying, don't think too hard about life, guys, and just do.
And you'll
And
get
just
500,000
necessarily
followers on
reward
TikTok.
And I think we're
creativity.
confusing creativity with the sense of most social media platforms. Like you didn't join Facebook when you were like 14 to, do a doodle. It was like to chat to your friends. And there's things, social platforms are for connection and doing the same. And 400,000 people all doing the same thing means that you're all in one way connected. Not to be like hippie, but like, do you know what I mean?
I do think, though, that is, sorry to bring it back to the premise, I do think that is part of what makes TikTok very different from what Instagram is, because I think it's kind of what I used to say about why I could never make friends on Instagram, but I could make friends on Twitter, like despite all of Twitter's like horrific problems, is that TikTok is really conducive to discussions and like people commenting and like, you can't retweet like you can on Twitter, but you do have this feed that you don't control based on who you follow, and that is more conducive to people like meeting each other, discussions, sharing ideas, whether that's memes, songs, or like dances, whatever. And you don't get that on Instagram. You don't get that like shareability or that like sort of discussion thing. You have to kind of, like if I ever participate in a discussion on Instagram, it's because I'm on my own Instagram feed. I go to Twitter, I see someone's post is blowing up via Twitter on Instagram, and then I go to Instagram and then I comment there. And that on TikTok, that's just not how it works. It's like a video will show up in everyone's feed because algorithmically it's on the For You page. And I think that is actually something that fundamentally, that TikTok is conducive to discussion in a way that Instagram never can be.
Okay, interesting. No,
I
go.
was just going to say that I feel like TikTok is more of an app for the people, like not just for the people that you follow, but for new people. So like on Instagram, for instance, you have to click the discovery bit. You have to, it's so much more complex. Like you have to go down, click where it's got the little search bar, and then search for other people's videos. Now on Instagram, we've actually started our profiles and we follow the people that we want to follow, so we see the things that we want to see. Where TikTok is so much more broad in that manner. So it's saying like, you've got your following, so if you want to look at your followers, click this button. But for now, if you want, this is what we're going to show you. We're going to show you the world. So it's more good for learning new things and seeing new followers. Like so, seeing somebody and going, actually, you know what, you're quite cool. I'm going to follow you. Where you don't get that on Instagram. So you literally just see the same people. So you're in the same loop. It's like being in the same job. Where on TikTok, it's showing you a wide range of things.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're different.
Yeah, I'm just making the point.
No, but I agree. Yeah, no, it's good. I agree. That's why I like it too.
So I think for TikTok to be, just like riff off what you've just said, for TikTok to be the new Instagram, particularly like for the influencer space and like traction and building a profile and whatever, you have to have like narrative continuity. You have to be able to build a consistent, engaged audience and to be able to speak to them often. But because TikTok is this like insane experience where you don't have to follow anyone to be bombarded by loads and loads and loads of different stuff that you've like not asked for and you don't want, and like, please don't let me see another bloody renegade video. So it's actually like much harder to build a longer and more sustained career on TikTok. It's easy to have a viral success, like that's quick, that's achievable, but actually building and sustaining profile is actually really difficult to replicate, whereas Instagram favors a long, slow burn that can actually work harder to build brand partnerships, to develop relationships with followers and develop like commercial collaborations in a way that TikTok feels very flash in the pan. And like as a brand, speaking from an agency, as a brand perspective, it's much harder to say I want to invest my money into that influencer, or I want to invest my money into building a relationship with this person because it's so here today, gone tomorrow. I don't know. Any thoughts?
Right, so look at my notes. So I just feel like with any app, it starts somewhere. So we can all admit that yes, TikTok is quite new, in a sense. Yes, Musical.ly was around, but TikTok is quite new. So Instagram wasn't where it's at in 2010. So I feel like it's still got more to develop. So over a period of time, yes, it may not have that right now, but over a period of time, I feel like it will develop into that. And you will get these things. Like, I feel like you can't throw too many new updates in so quick. Like what happened with Snapchat. Like when they threw that horrible, yes, I would say, horrible update on Snapchat, everybody was like no way, like no. So I feel like they've got
or
to
it was
slowly...
like just Kylie Jenner who was like no, and then everyone else was like fine.
Was like, no! Yeah, so I feel like they've got to slowly do that. Same way when Instagram first started to go from, was it 12-second videos or 15-second videos? And then they uploaded it to 60-second videos. Does everyone remember that?
Do you mean
Like IGTV?
No, before that. When your first video that you could upload on Instagram, it was only like 15 seconds long, wasn't it? Mm. And then the minute video come out and everyone was like, oh, nah, this is too long. And now everyone's like, oh my God, this is too short. Let's have IGTV. So things are going to develop regardless. And I feel like that will be the exact same with TikTok. But in the video element without the photos.
I agree and disagree with you in that, obviously, working very closely with talent, we've seen a lot of people who have grown. Everyone that I've worked with obviously has grown really quickly because there's not really been the thing for so long. There's some people who have blown up and they have stayed blown up, like this guy Kyron that I manage, for example. He's on 2.7 million now. When I signed him, he was on about 300K, and he's just consistently getting like millions and millions of views.
I know Kyron, so I'm just going to say shout out to Kyron.
I'll put in a good word. But on the other hand, there's other people that I've seen who, when I signed them, I thought, yeah, they're going to be sick, they're going to be great. And months down the line, it's not been the case. And unfortunately, obviously, this is kind of bait. But yeah, like we've had to say, sorry, it's just not going to work out. And brands don't want to work with them. I think it's just, What is my point? Is that just like we're not at that point yet? There's people who have proven that we are going to have like prolonged brand partnerships. Like I don't entirely agree with you either. Like I think there are going to be brands that are interested in working with certain people on the long term, but some people not. Because I don't think that views and likes have the same value on TikTok at the moment as they do on Instagram, which is why they're different fundamentally.
But won't so the influencers that are on Instagram, you're saying, if they're big on Instagram, are they continually staying big on Instagram? Like, are they always going to be bringing in revenue no matter what? Because isn't that saying that people have looked like they were going to be big or started big and then it's kind of slowed down? That happens everywhere. That happens in the music industry. That happens in the film industry. Like, that's just life. So in order to have a big profile and have that sustainability, not everybody's going to have it. Like, that's with everything.
I get you. It's harder to blow up on Instagram, especially these days, whereas TikTok has been a lot easier. You can go from being 0 to 300K in like
a few
days.
And if that changes your life for the better, how is that a problem?
It's not a problem.
TikTok
just different.
Okay, we can all go home. Sarah, I wanted to challenge you on something you said when you were talking about the like endless scroll of TikTok. I actually think that TikTok takes many more steps to look after its users than Instagram does. So although you're saying that like I think you said on Instagram you get to the bottom of the feed, it tells you to like put the phone down and stuff. Well, so do top TikTokers. TikTok has this thing called TikTok tips. And it's basically like tips about how to use the platform better. They've recently done a series with a whole load of TikTok creators, like super celebrities, and like homegrown TikTok stars who create videos that tell you to like stop scrolling and log off. And like they say like put the phone down. You've probably been on TikTok for ages. And they've also got stuff like You're in Control, which is like a user safety video series that is going out in the form of TikTok memes and stuff. So instead of stuff being buried deep in the Facebook archive, being like you should turn on screen time and log off, like as if anyone is going to do that or they're just going to ignore it. They're actually taking more steps to encourage you to have like a healthy relationship with the app.
I do think that Instagram does actually have, and I'm really not an Instagram defender, and I really need to say that now, but I do think Instagram does have things that are not your choice. That says, okay, we're at least letting you know that what you're doing is your choice, and we've told you that you've now seen literally every post that someone you follow has posted. Like, enjoy re-looking at the posts. Even if you can then say, like, this app is addictive and has, like, made me addicted to it, blah, blah, blah. And TikTok doesn't make that a fundamental part of its platform. It does things like partnering with creators and making its own videos that will pop up in your feed, but it's not like a functionality of the app where like it stops and it's like, just so you know, because you can't. Like there's no way for you to have seen every TikTok video. Like even if I'm looking at my following tab, I'll start seeing videos from like October from people that I follow because they're like, hey, why don't you stick around for a little while even though you've seen like the 10 people you follow's videos for the last week. Another thing I want to say kind of on that is that, and it was something I think you talked about, and I can't remember what your exact point was, but it was about like the way, sorry, I wrote down my response rather than your point, which was foolish. Yeah, but essentially that like TikTok does stuff to like take care of its users, and that it's like a nice, happy, fun place. But the BBC actually did a really big report that I only learned about like earlier this week or last week, where essentially, and you can see it, you can actually see it when you look at very young TikTok users' profiles, is in most like 13-year-old girls' profiles, it'll say like, I'm 13, don't be creepy. And the reason why that is because there's tons of child predators on TikTok. And fun fact, the BBC did a big report where they reported a shitload of them, and TikTok did not remove any of them. Not a single one got removed, even though the BBC reported it. And there were literally like 45-year-old men commenting really creepy things on like 13-year-old girls' posts. Yeah, there we go. That's really fun for your shorter toss talk tonight, isn't it? But yeah, it's like one of these things where, like, sorry. But like on Instagram, like Instagram also fucking sucks at like dealing with abuse on its platform. And like it really is fucking bad at like not removing things or like, and you know, removes women's nipples and has like weird rules around that. But to be fair to them, I do think they're probably better at removing child predators. And I have to give that to TikTok and say that it's different from Instagram. or I have to give that to Instagram. Shit, sorry. And say that it's sorry.
Cut that.
I have to give it to God. That's gonna be taken out of context. But yeah, I have to give that to Instagram because TikTok is not doing that. And doesn't seem to really mind, and then we'll like remove things about people saying like Muslims are in internment camps. So, what are you gonna do?
That's a Googleable thing, everyone. You should Google if you don't already know, the censorship of an American teenager who was posting about
Pretending it was a makeup tutorial. She
Yeah,
was
sorry,
like,
you
yeah,
explain.
she like did 3 videos that was like, okay, everyone, like this is how I get my perfect eyelashes. I've started this video like this that TikTok doesn't realize that I'm going to tell you about like the Uyghur Muslims in China being put in internment camps and being brainwashed. And TikTok like removed all of her videos. Then it's a real thing. It was covered everywhere. It's really crazy. And she posted 3 videos. They removed all of them. It became a viral news story. Like it was picked up everywhere. It was on like it was actually I watch BBC Breakfast like a normal person. It was leading on BBC Breakfast, so even normal people were paying attention to it. And then TikTok suddenly put the video back up after it got a load of traction and kind of just didn't explain why they took it down. But yeah, and it was obviously critical of the Chinese government. So like I'm not saying, but put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, it's a really interesting story. You should look it up.
You get conspiracies, you get debate, you get everything tonight.
So credit to Instagram for not doing that, is my point.
Do you guys have anything else you wanted to challenge?
Yeah, I just feel like on Instagram you can get away with so many more different things. So like you're seeing like real danger on Instagram that you won't see on TikTok. Or if you do see it, it will get reported and then it's taken down, where there's just some things that are being sent to me, for instance, that you're just like, okay, are you meant to be able to send that to me? But on TikTok, for instance, I have to add the people back in order for them to send me stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's a person's fault why they're getting rude messages or comments on their profiles, but parents could take more care with their kids' profiles and make sure that people that don't follow them back can't comment on it. People that they don't follow back can't message them. And I feel like if you yourself are getting trapped into that kind of cycle, like the scrolling, for instance, let me just go back to the scrolling thing. Like if you want to blame the app for continuing to scroll, I feel like as people, we need to stop blaming other people like it's yourself. Like if you're addicted, it's you that's scrolling. No one's picking up your finger, and TikTok's not grabbing your finger.
That is controversial.
No, I feel like I just feel like with your mindset, you are able to decide how you want to do it. So for instance, if you're gonna go to the gym, you're gonna go to the gym. If you're gonna eat, you're gonna eat. Like you can stop looking at the app. Yes, it may be addictive, but you've got to decide.
Okay,
whether
so
to stop
think
or
about
not.
when you open TikTok, right? If you get a screen which has no battery thing, as Sarah's mentioned, no time at the top, and it scrolls like this. The videos scroll like this. It's like a slot machine, basically. It's like a child's version of a casino. There's no time. Time doesn't exist. You can keep scrolling forever and ever and ever, and you never run out of content. And you don't have to be prompted at all to be like sucked into that. I don't know. I would really disagree with you that we hold users entirely responsible for the manipulations of like systems that are much more vast and much more sophisticated than they can be.
Yeah, it's a manipulation, but at the same time, like again, like you can, if you're told this, you can stop that.
But I do think that I think platforms love to kind of wheel out that line whenever they can. They say, like, I mean, Nick Clegg was even saying that about Facebook. Like, we'd love to make Facebook not such a bad place, but the government should put more restrictions on us. And it's like, why don't you fucking put some restrictions on yourself? Like, and I think that's kind of what I feel about all these places. Not to like go like into like a mega like lefty rant about it, but I do think that the onus should be on these platforms to fucking step up and like actually do something about it. And I know that obviously the reason they don't is because they make money off of how much time you spend on the app. And then it goes back to that like, oh, then as users should we be more aware? But I do think like if we want to have like a properly like purist utopian debate about this, then I do think that the onus is, and I know that this is like incredibly divorced from what we're fucking talking about now, but like it should be on TikTok to not be doing that shit. And like, I know that again, Instagram is owned by Facebook. Like Adam Mosseri saying like, oh, I really care about you on Twitter is not actually Instagram really caring about you, but they are at least like kind of doing things. And while I do think that like removing the following tab and like removing like counts does make for my stalking experience, much worse. I do think for a teenager, it probably does improve your experience. And I don't think TikTok has any interest in thinking about that, despite the fact that they have such a high concentration of young people. And this like 16 to 24 thing, and like, oh, you have to be above the age of 13 to use our app is such bullshit. You just can say like, I was born in 1972 and I'm 10, but I'm gonna be on here, and they don't check. So I think that it is like there should be some fucking, the onus should be on them to make it not so shitty, and not again make it so that I'm signing on at 9:30 and not logging off till 11 p.m. Sorry to get upset about that, guys.
Do you have any more challenges for them?
I guess, okay, Georgia, you brought something up about, obviously, Dua Lipa and her blowing up on TikTok. But she's not a normal person. She's not a normal user. So her blowing up on TikTok in a short amount of time isn't necessarily reflective of the average user blowing up.
Frank Ocean's also not the average person.
True. But my point is that just because you have this one case study of Dua Lipa blowing up on Instagram, sorry, not Instagram, TikTok, does it mean that... I can't get my point across properly, but just because like Instagram is slower... I give up.
Okay, no, I'm going to step in. Are you basically saying that like it's not as democratic as the app is not as democratic when it comes to building a social profile as Georgia has maybe led us to believe?
Yes.
Is that right?
Might not be democratic in terms of numbers and whatnot, but I feel like it's democratic in terms of who you are as a person. Like it's not confined to size or like social class in that way. And I think in that respect, it's far more open to like people and like young users.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about the diversity thing for a second, because I've got a couple of points on here. So the narrative goes that Instagram is a space where you succeed partly due to like algorithmic bias towards people who are white, thin, able-bodied, neurotypical. And there is a kind of discourse emerging around TikTok that says that TikTok creators, they've not made this easy for themselves, have they? Are more diverse than those on Instagram. And it's certainly true if you look at the top 20 creators on TikTok versus top 20 creators on Instagram. I did this for fun at the weekend, compared the top 20, because that's what I do at the weekend. And actually, like the backgrounds of and ethnicities and like lived experiences of top creators on TikTok tend to be more diverse than those on Instagram. And I would argue maybe that's a reason why TikTok can become and is being like heralded as a replacement for Instagram, because people are sick of Instagram's like cultural hegemony and the impact that has on the things that we buy and like beauty standards and loads of other things that come with that.
I do think like the entry point to like viral stardom is much, much lower on TikTok. Like I very pathetically post on TikTok for my job, so I learn how it actually works.
What's your handle? Come on, you got to do the plug.
It's 𝚃𝚒𝚔𝚃𝚘𝚔, but everything else I'm Sarah Manovis because I created... anyways, doesn't matter. I lost my own name to myself. But essentially, I forgot my password and I'm too embarrassed to email them. So anyways...
If anyone works at TikTok in the crowd, please stay behind afterwards.
But anyways, it's really easy. Essentially, if you can make an Instagram story, you can probably make a decent TikTok. Like, sure, there's a couple of things like with... getting songs, getting the sounds right, editing, whatever. But it is pretty, like, if you're like a 16-year-old that's been using Instagram stories for years, like, it's pretty easy. And that is good in that it means that, like, you can become famous off this app, kind of regardless of your background, as long as you have a smartphone. And while that's technically true of Instagram, it's just not the case. And it's the same with, like, the way YouTubers, most of them were born rich. It's kind of a similar thing with Instagrammers a lot of the time. Like, you have to have access to cameras, like, good outfits, like, things like that. But again, I would argue that's why it's not the same as Instagram, is because I do think it's this entirely different thing. Like, I know people like to kind of lazily compare it to Vine, and RIP Vine. I loved Vine. I think it's really different because Vine was more creative, it was more limited, and I think it was harder to become like, there was nothing there for you to go off of. You had to like create a video from scratch, whereas memes actually make it easier for people to post because you're like, oh, I have something I can base this off of. I don't have to like come up with this creative video out of nowhere. But again, like, I just think that is... that like lower entry point does make it very different. And yes, and again, like I said in my opening speech, while it is more diverse, 1000% when you look at the For You page versus like top Instagrammers or even anyone's Instagram Discover page, they do censor LGBTQ content. They do censor fat creators. They do censor disabled creators, and they've said that. And they've kind of been like, oh, we're kind of sorry, but they weren't like, we'll stop now. So it is a thing where we can say like, yeah, good for them. There are some people that are rising to the top, but at the same time, they're limiting people from those backgrounds. So, like, can we really give them that much of a pat on the back?
What do you guys think? Do you agree? What do you think? Do you think it's a more diverse space, or?
Definitely, and I think we're getting tied up in its sort of value being in the capacity for people to get famous. For me, I think its value is for the average person in like regional England to be able to go on it and see their friends on it and everyone just having fun and seeing whatever you are, then that's represented and you have a place there, which I don't think you have on Instagram. And, you know, we said its main demographic is 16 to 25. And in that way, you know, maybe Instagram is becoming our Facebook and then TikTok's the new Instagram. It's sort of this cycle within, you know, age groups now.
Yeah, I think that's a good kind of point to like conclude this section on, is that like maybe there is just this cyclical phasing of platforms, and like we're all now the okay boomers of Instagram, and like okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up to the floor. So if anyone, particularly looking at the white men in the audience, want to stand up and give an opinion phrased as a question, now is the time to do it. I'm joking, kind of. Seriously, does anyone have any questions or challenges for anyone on the panel? Yes, there's someone over there. Oh, sorry, there's a roving mic somewhere, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, you're going to have to shout, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can repeat it if we, yeah. Yeah, is this aimed at a particular side or? Yeah. Okay. Well, we can all answer, but yeah, go if you.
Okay. I think that any kind of brand, can engage on TikTok, but in a different way from Instagram, which fundamentally makes it different from Instagram. I mean, it's more about the brands leaning into how to TikTok, I guess, like rather than that's. I mean, it's the point I made about, you know, the content that TikTok creators make and Instagram creators make, where a brand, you know, like a makeup brand may post a nice glossy photo of swatches on someone's arm. On TikTok, it'd be more someone, you know, putting makeup on along to a song. It's just different, and brands do need to lean into that. Yeah.
I do think at the moment, this is a very brief point, is that like SpawnCon can really stick out like a sore thumb on TikTok, in the way that on Instagram you can a lot of the time just swipe past and it looks like your average Instagram content. So yeah, I think in that is what makes it fundamentally different. And I do think that, yeah, that's exactly it, is like brands just need to learn how to like get with the times essentially and make native TikTok content.
Yeah,
I feel like if anything, you know, the brand focus on Instagram is what's making people go on TikTok, because there's a real skepticism against Instagram, and like you're having a private conversation with your friends and suddenly you're getting a bloody ad for something you really don't want to be seeing. It's just, you know.
I probably make like half those ads that you see that you don't want to see, so.
I don't think you do.
I just wanted to pick up on the point about it always being like humour or funny. I find that it's not. Obviously, it can be, but a lot of the videos that you'll be watching as well are just either energetic as well. So there's some of the biggest TikTokers are actually dancers. So it's people that, and it's not, you're not laughing at that video. So I don't want, if anybody doesn't use TikTok, I don't want you to think that you're going to go on there and you're just going to be laughing from your ear to ear. But if that's not a problem, but like it is, sometimes you are just seeing...
Only on your channel.
Yeah, you are just seeing really nice things as well. Like the people have been really creative with what they're doing. Like just taking a photo through this glass and then doing it in a video version. So
Divorced men love to make TikToks as well. Sorry to the divorced men. I wrote a piece about it for GQ. You can check it out on gq.co.uk.
Can we have a summary for
it's
not
essentially
clickbait?
it was like viral, like men like putting their divorce papers in a bin and setting it on fire, and then like throwing their wedding ring at the camera. It's like a song that says something like "You never knew what you had, and now you've lost it."
Oh my
like,
gosh, this is
don't
like
hurt
the emo
yourself style.
This is like
lemonade.
the 2012 Tumblr emo days, of which I'm well acquainted.
But it's true. It's
But
not, it is
for-
not funny,
But it kind of is.
despite what you might believe.
Okay, cool. I think we need another. Yeah, cool. Do you wanna?
Hello.
I work for a media agency, and we work with a lot of bigger clients who can't target teams. So we have a number of people ask us, how do we interact with influencers on TikTok? And I just have all these internal struggles where everyone thinks it's like too risky, but I really want to test it. So how would you advise tackling that conversation, improving that without having data to be able to back it up?
Obviously, I do understand big brands, they want the data. Obviously, you can go off people's Instagram analytics, or, I mean, maybe lean into paid ads on TikTok. You can do that, and you can target specific demographics on there. I mean, yeah, I know that a lot of brands are a bit edgy about it because of the age thing, and that's somewhat understandable. But, I mean, yeah, TikTok claims that the main demographic is 16 to 24, so if they're willing to go with that, then all good. But yeah, I'd say maybe paid ads, or just see whether they are willing to take that risk. I mean, it's more, that was one of my arguments really, wasn't it? Like about age breakdowns. If you're willing to just take the plunge and see who latches on, and maybe if they're willing to spend that budget on reaching a new audience, maybe that's the way you'd convince them rather than, yeah.
And do you go by the age of the creator?
Not necessarily. Usually you can tell by comments. The creators seem to know what their audience is like as well, obviously based off meet and greets and real life engagements. And yeah, of course, Instagram and YouTube, if they do have those platforms. Yeah, hope that helps.
Cool. Anyone else have any opinions either side? Okay, cool. I'm going to have to say, I've been told off, so I have to say what you say after you say it so that the microphone can hear it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine.
For example, I work for a magazine, and I'm just wondering, because you mentioned native content earlier, and I'm just wondering what you guys think that can look like, because I feel like TikTok is such a personality-based platform, and I'm not going to start putting my own face on TikTok for the night, because it's just not right.
Okay, so the question is, what does native content look like on TikTok for brands, platforms, media outlets, etc.? Because you don't want to put your own face on it. Fair enough. I just have to reveal that at the DIGI Ferry internally, we were all charged with a fun Christmas project, which was creating TikToks of ourselves in the aim of going viral. And I was so desperate to not get my face in this thing for like public humiliation. So I feel you. Yeah, I think Sarah wants to take this one.
Yeah, I'm actually very passionate about brands joining, or media outlets joining TikTok. We at the New Statesman have a TikTok where our political editor, Stephen Bush, who is like a very, very like tall, doesn't have any sort of rhythm, uncomfortable man who we rush in and go, okay, here are the lyrics to this thing, please mouth them now. But yeah, and it's actually done a really bizarrely, like, it's been really good for us engaging with a younger audience. Like, essentially, we found that we've been trying to do memes that are just like purely memes, maybe just like meta content about being a journalist. We found that actually doing political analysis on TikTok, like we made a TikTok about like, what is the labor leadership race really about? And it was like, anyway, I'm not gonna sing the song, but essentially it was like, it was a TikTok where you point at things and then you reveal the last thing is the actual thing. And that did like really, really well for us, which was like niche Labour Party political analysis. The Washington Post is obviously the one that everyone will talk about. If you're not following the Washington Post on TikTok, it is literally my favorite TikTok account. But it's essentially a guy. It's one guy named Dave Jorgensen. He's 28, and he makes 2 TikToks a day for the Washington Post, and they have almost 500K followers. And it does tend to be personality led. Like the way we've had success is by putting Stephen, our political editor, Stephen Bush, at the forefront, and they've had success putting Dave as the forefront of the Washington Post, and a lot of other publications have done similar thing. At the BBC, Sophia Smith-Gaylor is I think her name. She's not technically doing it for the BBC, but she does pieces, or she does TikToks about being a BBC journalist, and she's become like a viral. I think she has almost 100K followers now just about, you know, like learning Arabic and like traveling around for the BBC. So I think if you are a media organization, find someone who is willing to be the face of it, or find someone who's prominent enough in your magazine and force them to be the face of it, as we've done. And just kind of like sticking to what you actually cover and kind of leaning into that. That's what we've found a lot of success with.
Yeah, I also think there's something to be said for the fact that a lot of the discourse around TikTok assumes, it's quite patronizing, it assumes that it's like just 14-year-olds doing dances. And actually there's a wealth of content and creators. There's like gynecologists, there's like baristas, there's like loads and loads of people doing content, and the like age is not just that age, it's just that those kind of TikTok stars are the ones that are the most visible because they have the most followers, and they're also the ones that the brand themselves select to put forward at events like VidCon, where I was this weekend. So it's kind of a slightly misleading, maybe public perception of the kind of content that's successful on TikTok as well.
And you can do serious topics. Like, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Mayo Pete meme, but it's what teens on TikTok call like Mayor Pete, like Pete Buttigieg, who's running for president right now, who they all call like, they just say that I'm not going to, I can't call him something I shouldn't call him. But they think his politics are bad, and they make like quite informed political content about Mayor Pete to the song High Hopes by Panic at the Disco, where they just dance to it and do that. So, and it's serious content, like it's to a weird song, but it is like actually talking about niche political policy. So you can kind of get serious with it, and I think it does fly as long as it's sincere.
Cool. I think we've probably got time for one or two more quick questions if they are quick. Is someone at the back waving? Yeah, so you think TikTok is potentially the new Instagram because it's offering, for your sister, it's offering like a better, more creative space for her. Yeah, you've got one person round there. Well done.
I feel like with, just a quick one, I feel like with Instagram and other platforms, they tend to record and edit the videos. Like they feel like they have to have a really, really polished production of something that they're putting up. But with TikTok, as you're saying, you can just literally just do something really quick and it doesn't feel, there's no pressure to record and just upload. There's also age as well. Don't be scared to jump on TikTok no matter what your age. The reason why I was on my phone is because there's a guy here and he's called Grandad Frank. I don't know if you follow him.
Oh my God.
He's
At
really
Grandad
popular.
Frank with 2 Ks, he's got 580,000 followers. He's following one person. Who's he following?
I think it's his daughter or something like that. Or his granddaughter.
This is really wholesome. This is really wholesome. They're
And
doing
it's just
dances.
Grandad Frank, and he's just doing all the trends that he wants to do.
Oh, that's very cute. There
He's
you go.
just having
Wholesome
fun,
content.
and he's a granddad. So it just shows that no matter your age, you can
there
just
are.
do something, and that goes for all platforms. Though, like that goes for all platforms. Like never be worried about what this person thinks of you. Just do, and if the people are not supporting you in what you're doing, then they're not meant to be around you, I guess.
You could set him up with Instagram's Baddie Winkle, and then that could be like the TikTok Instagram crossover
Grime
we never knew we
gang.
wanted. Did you have anything you want to say on that point?
No.
Okay, good. One more question, and then we'll do a vote. Yes, person in the like yellow, fluorescent yellow.
So basically, I'm one of the co-founders of Millennials, and we've just hit 1 million
Hi, Rob.
followers on TikTok. And
Woo! Well done, everyone.
Congratulations.
Clap.
Manage him.
Well done.
this isn't about me, it's more just like
Oh, good. Okay.
incredible. And what we do, we just put videos up of us like making ice cream, messing around in the office, and lots of them get like millions of views. And one reason I think we've had such success is because the videos are so different to videos that are normally on there. So like people dancing. I mean, even the TikTok logo is a music sign. But like, I guess my question is, a year from now, do you guys think that more people
Are you the pan and I? Are you the guy?
I swear we manage
I can't see through the lights, but is he you? Oh my God. It's an honor.
Oh my God, we could do like a TikTok
I
meet
actually,
and
can we
greet
get a selfie after
this?
this? No, I would love to get a picture after this. I know that's really unprofessional to do.
This is beautiful.
I'd love to collab after this.
Oh God, all right. Bloody hell.
No, but
So, yeah,
I agree to. I very much agree to that. I feel like there's a lot of people that are doing jobs that they hate, and then they jump on TikTok and then actually show like their drawing, for instance, and then people are now becoming artists. So like people that are just people that are magicians are doing their stuff on TikTok, and now it's like their full-time jobs and stuff. So I feel like people are really investing in their craft on TikTok, even though they're not invested in it in real life. If that makes sense. Like I feel like people are finding like using it as their base to grow for themselves, for sure.
Yeah, I think it all ultimately stems back to this very fixed and singular definition of what TikTok is, which is largely being decided by people who are not on the app or are not familiar with the app. So we all think TikTok is maybe not the new Instagram because it's not got branded features yet, they're coming, or because it's not got that diversity of content yet, it's coming. So I think, yeah, you're right, it's like a time-sensitive thing, and like any platform, as the platform matures, we'll see like a diversification of content, more brands, it'll become a less hostile space. So yeah, I agree, but I'm the middle, so I don't get to choose.
I agree.
I do think that it is like, and sorry, this is just, we have to argue this side. But I do think it is quite limited though. Like in the same way that Instagram is limited. Like I just think that they serve certain hobbies better than the other. Like for example, Magic Singh, who's like a very popular magician TikToker. I can't believe how much we've talked about magicians. But he's like a very, very, very popular magician TikToker. Like TikTok does a lot of stuff for him. He actually, Little Mix did a Come Dine With Me on YouTube amongst the four of them, and he like was the entertainment for one of the nights. But on Instagram, he still has like not very many followers, and he essentially was like, oh, TikTok is great because on Instagram I wasn't able to do this. So while I do think like I just think that it is different, like in the sense that like certain hobbies can flourish on one and certain hobbies can flourish on the other.
Fab. Okay, we've got 9 minutes, so if anyone has a really quick question, they can get it in. Otherwise, we'll put this to a vote. Oh, yeah, there's one there. Okay.
I don't know. I feel like that's sort of, we're quite good at evolving our mind as an app evolves. Like I'm quite good at skipping through ads now. You don't see them, and I feel like you'll evolve your mind with that, with TikTok. So I think there are ways where you sort of just get over it. Maybe.
It's fine. We have good tactics to avoid this kind of thing happening. It's a constant battle. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I guess, I mean, as I've said about brands leaning into TikTok, ads on TikTok look different to how they do on Instagram. I mean, even though they do have to say hashtag ad on them, they're still enjoyable. They're not like, oh, look at my X brand shoes and blah, blah, blah. It's not just about that. It's about integrating it into the content. So it's still an enjoyable experience. Well, that's what successful ad does on TikTok. But yeah, I just think, I mean, there are already loads of brands on TikTok, but maybe people haven't noticed them just yet because they've infiltrated it so well. Maybe.
Yeah,
I do.
We work with Converse at DigiFairy, and they have just run a TikTok campaign for their new Twisted shoe. And as one of the activations, they work with loads of TikTokers, and they had a TikToker who recreated the shoe out of blue tack, and that was the TikTok, and that was the ad. And it's like, it's that level of like branded content where it's bizarre, it's really weird. There's no way in hell if like I pitched that as a like creative working at Digi to Converse, they probably would have been like, no. But when you're working with a creator, like there is possible to have an ad that's not an ad, if that makes sense. Like
they often
Schrodinger's ad, like it's both things at once.
Yeah, completely. I've seen a few where they sort of tap into trends. So then it's like shoe dipping, but it would be like Nike doing shoe dipping.
Yeah, I feel like you literally watch. It feels like you're still watching the same feed, and it doesn't feel like an ad. Like if you've got a phobia of ads, and you're clicking skip, like sometimes you're going to be watching them, but they don't feel like it's a problem.
I do also think that like even now, like when you look at your For You page, or at least maybe this is just for me or the different TikTok accounts I have that I'm using to look at this kind of stuff. When I look at my following and I look at like the influencers I might follow, yeah, you do see ads, and like as I said before, like some of them really do stick out like a sore thumb that are quite bad, but some are more integrated, like everybody's saying. But when it comes to the For You page, it still is just a lot of like kids randomly going viral, or people that are like not big enough to have like a brand partnership, but they maybe have got like 50K followers. And so I do think that, and this is why I do think TikTok can be different from Instagram going forward as well, is that I do think that you can keep that For You page relatively ad-free and leave the ads kind of on your following page if the algorithm like sort of maintains the way it currently is, because you are just seeing lots of random videos, and most of them, like the vast majority of them, aren't advertising, and your advertising often lives on your following page.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to have to stop there. So thank you so much to the speakers on both sides of the debate. What we're going to do is we're going to have a vote again. So if you are for the motion and you think that TikTok is the new Instagram, like TikTok is going to replace Instagram, TikTok is better than Instagram, it's going to replace it, can you please raise your hand now? And just like keep it up. Sorry, because Bieber's going to do the counting, I think. Cool. In the meantime, we can play a game. I have a game for us. Okay. Question number 1. What is the woe? Way! Perfect. Okay, cool. Question, I was going to say bonus point if you can do it, but that was so fluid.
I don't know how you describe it.
Yeah. What is the word? Yeah. Is that good? Okay, so if you are against the motion and you believe that TikTok is not the new Instagram, put your hands up. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask you, what is an e-boy or an e-girl?
Ooh, how do you describe it? It's like a modern day emo, like an internet emo. But, I mean, emos did have the internet, didn't they?
Justice for emos.
Like emo, yeah, digital, like meme emo, who's, I don't know,
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, you just got to know.
It's a memo. Oh, wow, that was really creative. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Can you give us an example of an e-girl or an e-boy for the audience?
There's a guy called Noah Eubanks who's huge.
Yeah, he's the face of Celine.
Yeah. E-boy
that's
Central,
good.
that's him.
Okay, they're just going to do some calculating, so we'll continue. Okay, who is the most followed user on TikTok?
Charlie, is
Yeah,
it still Charlie
I thought it was
D'Amelio?
Lauren Gray.
Who was you going to say?
It's Lauren Gray.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Lauren Gray. Okay, bonus point. How many followers does she have?
I don't know.
I'm going to
30?
guess.
You can guess. Of course you can guess.
Ooh,
How else
yeah.
would you know?
It's got to be in the... Is it in the 30s?
30.2. Because Charlie D'Amelio is on 28 points.
Higher.
It's
So
higher than
41?
Lower.
35.
Higher. 39.5 million followers.
Wow.
The biggest influencer you've never heard of. Who is the most followed user on Instagram?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, how many followers does he have?
180?
No, way more.
Oh, is it?
Way more.
Is it like 150 something?
More.
No,
170?
210?
205. That was close enough.
205.
Okay. That's all my questions. I'm sorry, that was really quick.
It's hard.
It was hard, wasn't it? I know, it was hard.
It was underneath 200.
I should do more. I just want to be Stephen Fry on QI. Okay, I don't want to stress him out. Are you okay, Bieber? Very nearly. Okay, cool, fine. We'll chat quietly amongst ourselves then. Has anyone got anything they'd like to plug? Upcoming, like, TikTok handles? Upcoming artists who have TikTok campaigns coming up? I know you do. Can you not say that? I don't know. Sorry if I've broken an NDA.
It's good.
Okay, no, ignore. Oh my God, we're in dicey water. This is what happens when I have to ad-lib. It goes wrong really, really quickly.
I will say, if anybody wants anything advertised on TikTok, don't like if you want to holler, just holler. Like I'm here, I'm ready, and if you like my content, I will find a creative way of getting your brand across.
Yeah,
I've done
it'll be an ad.
I've done it quite a few times already, so like it's
But it'll be a spawn, but you'll be the mum and the dad and the baby
I don't have
all
to
at
do that
once.
as well. Like I am, my paid work is being an actor, so I can do other things. I hope.
Amazing. Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
underscore.
Underscore, otherwise it's going to be a vlog about being a
Luke
gay
Vernon
trucker.
underscore, because
Yeah.
I'm not a truck
Maybe you
driver.
should do a collab with him. That'd be nice.
I feel like I should message him, but there is a guy on Instagram that is just like, he's like a, well, I'm assuming he was a 12-year-old because he's just called Luke Vernon and he's not uploaded anything since like 2014.
Oh, see, this is the same with the
I've
DIGI Fairy.
messaged him about 17 times.
Yeah, it's
nothing.
rude, isn't it?
Offered money. It's just not happening.
Also, just to say that we're going to hang around afterwards, so if people have specific questions that they need, then or like things they want to ask, then they can. Oh, and there's stickers. Everyone should have DigiFairy stickers, merch everywhere, hopefully. Please don't walk off with the hands. We need them. They were really expensive. Okay, we got the results in. Sorry, I don't have notifications turned on. Okay, so before the debate, most of you believed that TikTok isn't the new Instagram. Unsurprising, loads of you raised your hand. After the debate, 33% of you were for the motion, 67% of you were against the motion. So the motion fails, and this house does not believe that TikTok is the new Instagram. Okay, round of applause. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much to the speakers. Thank you so much to the audience. And thank you so much to Shoreditch House for putting up with our shit.
Shout out Digital Fairy.
Yes, massive round of applause for Digital Fairy.
I'm in the ghetto. I'm in the ghetto. I'm in the ghetto.